development of packaging solutions offers WDSRX clients a range of options to increase the efficiency of their supply chain, control costs, and enhance profitability. For example, bulk shipments of capsules and tablets can be less expensive to transport than fully packaged products. Once inside a WDSRX facility, filling, bottling, and labeling of bulk supplies are performed by experienced technicians. Our modern equipment is located on-site for direct supervision of every work project. Repackaging and relabeling programs allow our clients to anticipate changing demand for packaging configurations. Serialization describes the unique identification of individual cartons and bottles of medications. Specific standards are set out in the Federal Drug Supply Chain Security Act, a federal law signed in 2013 that promises increased consumer safety, protection from fraud, and a reduction in counterfeit drug products. The new label protocols require technology upgrades to equipment. WDSRX packaging lines are fully compliant with the DSCSA enacted regulations. The experienced WDSRX production team tailors kitting programs that gather separate components and package them together before distribution to their final destination. Each kitting project requires extensive planning and precise implementation to meet the standards of clients and our internal quality control requirements. Experience confidence beyond compliance. Welcome to WDSRX. A full complement of packaging solutions offers WDSRX clients a range of options to increase the efficiency of their supply chain, control costs, and enhance profitability. For example, bulk shipments of capsules and tablets can be less expensive to transport than fully packaged products. Once inside a WDSRX facility, filling, bottling, and labeling of bulk supplies are performed by experienced technicians. Our modern equipment is located on-site for direct supervision of every work project. Repackaging and relabeling programs allow our clients to anticipate changing demand for packaging configurations. Serialization describes the unique identification of individual cartons and bottles of medications. Specific standards are set out in the Federal Drug Supply Chain Security Act, a federal law signed in 2013 that promises increased consumer safety, protection from fraud, and a reduction in counterfeit drug products. The new label protocols require technology upgrades to equipment. WDSRX packaging lines are fully compliant with the DSCSA enacted regulations. The experienced WDSRX production team tailors kitting programs that gather separate components and package them together before distribution to their final destination. Each kitting project requires extensive planning and precise implementation to meet the standards of clients and our internal quality control requirements. Experience confidence beyond compliance. Welcome to WDSRX.
A very good afternoon to one and all. I myself, Y. Ratna Sindhu, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs, Hindu College of Pharmacy, Guntur. A very good afternoon to one and all. On behalf of Hindu College of Pharmacy, we the Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs welcome you for the fabulous online program PRAJWALA, an international webinar series on contemporary issues in pharmaceutical regulatory affairs. Ours is one of those institutions. Hindu College of Pharmacy started in 1999, educating students to face the real world in all the possible ways since 20 years. Our esteemed institute stands for its excellence, and there are many ways, many people to mention for their marvelous service to uphold the policy of educating and benefiting students with knowledge in Hindu College of Pharmacy. They are none other than our management, Sri Jupudi Rangaraj Garu, Chairman, and Dr. S. Narasimhan Rao Garu, Secretary and Correspondent, and our Principal, Dr. R. Govindarajan Garu, and Vice Principal, Dr. A. Sunita Madam Garu. Next, OSD, B. Sitaramaya Garu. I am glad to introduce them to all. We are also proud to say about our Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs, led by a dynamic head of the department, Dr. M.V. Nagabhushanam Garu. Under his leadership, this department had developed like an education hub, and we are proud to say it is one of the best departments in Hindu College of Pharmacy. Now it's time to welcome our speaker for the today's session, Harshavardhan Garu Gummadi, Regulatory Affairs Specialist, IMED Global Corporation, UK Limited, SLUF, United Kingdom. Sir will deliver his talk on topic Significance of Pharmaceutical Labeling Requirements in Intellectual Regulatory Perspectives. Finally, it is more important to welcome you all with once again a deep gratitude for your fantabulous responses for the program organizing by the Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs. Now we will start the program with a prayer song.
Nish जाड्या पहा.
I thank our HOD sir, Dr. M.V. Nagabhushanam Garu, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Now it's time. I request our HOD sir, convener of today's program, Dr. M.V. Nagabhushanam Garu, to start this session with his opening remarks. Over to our respected HOD sir.
Good afternoon to all esteemed participants present now to this fourth day of international webinar series PRAJWALA, organized by Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs, Hindu College of Pharmacy, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh, India. From 25th June to 28th June, we have planned to organize a series of webinars for the benefit of pharmaceutical regulatory affairs students and professionals of pharmacy. I feel happy to announce that more than 3,000 participants have registered across the globe from the fraternity of pharmacy to this international webinar. Among the registered participants from various countries, 487 members are doctorates, 81 are professors, 257 are associate professors, 688 members are assistant professors, and registrations were received from USA, Malaysia, Australia, Ireland, Ethiopia, and Saudi Arabia. Among them, nearly 50% of the respondents are employees, and 1,508 students are from B.Pharm, M.Pharm, and PharmD programs. Pharmaceutical labeling is an area of pharma industry in which the labels function its role in identifying and explaining what the product is meant for is of utmost importance. Labeling and label printing are critical final components of validation process. In 2018, 9% of the medical devices were recalled and returned to the manufacturers. More than 1 million units of the manufactured medical devices, just because of the labeling related problems, labeling related issues, with printing errors undoubtedly a factor. It only takes a stray label, instructions for use, which we normally call it as IFU, or printing error, to cause a product to be recalled. A trivial issue like a faulty print ribbon, for example, can lead to missing, unreadable, or misinterpreted content. When it goes undetected and products reach the supply chain, then the regulations are breached and patient safety is put at risk. With an increasing shift towards a just-in-time production process, organizations need to ensure that they have robust mechanisms in place to assure the batch integrity. And the key to success is to appreciate how people learn, understand the thought process that goes into the instructional design, what works well, and a range of different ways to achieve goals. To make unexpected days more useful and fruitful due to the prevalence of the pandemic COVID-19, our management of Hindu College of Pharmacy has guided our teachers to integrate this webinar technology seamlessly into the curriculum instead of viewing this as an add-on or as an event. On this behalf, I, Professor M.V. Nagabhushanam, Head of the Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs of Hindu College of Pharmacy, extend a heartiest welcome to all, and especially to a humanitarian, generous philanthropist and a renowned advocate of Guntur city, able administrator, our beloved chairman, Sri Chupudi Rangaraj Garu, to this webinar series. And to this international webinar series, I extend my cordial welcome to our secretary and correspondent, Dr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu of Hindu College of Pharmacy. I extend my ardent welcome to our principal, Dr. R. Govindarajan, Vice Principal Sunita Garu, and PharmD Director P. Sitaramaya Garu for this series of webinars. And I heartfully invite Harshavardhan Gummadi for this webinar session. I offer a warm welcome to all faculty members, professionals from pharma industry, students from across India and abroad who have constantly showered their support in their cooperation throughout this program for its grand success. Thank you. Now I request our department senior faculty member, D. Nagarjuna Reddy Garu, to introduce today's speaker, Harshavardhan Gummadi. I request D. Nagarjuna Reddy Garu to introduce. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you, sir. From the College of Pharmacy and Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs, it's my pleasure to read the biodata of Harshavardhan Gummadi. He has done his regulatory affairs specialist and I'm at Global Cooperation UK Limited. He is going to deliver his topic on significance of pharmaceutical labeling requirements in international regulatory perspective. Harshavardhan Gummadi graduated with B.Pharm from JNTU, Hyderabad, and M.Pharm specialization in pharmacology from KMCH College, Coimbatore. Industrial diploma in clinical research and pharmacovigilance from KCS Pharma Academy, Jalandhar. Sir is a regulatory professional having more than 10 years of experience in regulatory affairs, clinical research, and academia. Sir has hands-on experience in creating and updating various labels and documents such as company core data sheet, summary of product characteristics, United States package insert, package information leaflet, and medication guide. Updating 30 labeling documents based on the reference to the global label update. His previous experience includes as medical and scientific writing professional at GVK Bio, as a regulatory labeling professional at Skiformix. Presently, SAR is a time at Global USA, providing the regulatory intelligence support by tracking global and country updates from ECHA and respective country websites. Also tracking the changes from Chemical Watch, RAPS, and other websites to comply with the international pharmaceutical labeling requirements. With this brief introduction, I welcome Harshavardhan Gummadi garu on behalf of Hindu College of Pharmacy and Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs, especially by our HOD sir and our staff members. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for your warm greetings and welcome message. Thank you. I'm just trying to share my screen. Just give me a couple of seconds and then I will start the session. I'm just trying to stop the annotations. I think I have already done that before. So let me share my screen then. Can anyone kindly confirm you're able to see my screen now? Thank you, sir. Yeah, today's topic is significance of pharmaceutical labeling requirements in international regulatory perspective. And
Sir,
hello.
sir, please disable the annotation, sir.
Yes, where can I do that?
Yeah, you can get it from the options.
Annotate,
More,
right?
yeah, more, sir.
Ah,
From
okay.
more, disable participant annotations.
Yes, I have done that.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, that's done now. Thank you. And thanks everyone again for your patience with this now. Again, our today's topic is significance of pharmaceutical labeling requirements in international regulatory perspective. You may already know a little bit about labeling by now, but for the benefit of the rest of the people, I'm just trying to explain where we are with the in the development drug development process, and we will discuss about other aspects of the labeling. Uh, in today's session, we will be discussing about the introduction, history, why the labeling is more significant, and what was missing earlier, and then label development before HA approval, after HA approval, later on maintenance of the labels, future of the labeling, and the healthcare professionals' responsibility. Introduction, you could see product information is approved information on a medicine. It is written for understanding by healthcare professionals and patients. You could see two different labels on the right side. That is, one is package information leaflet. Maybe you are already have seen some of the package information leaflets when you're buying a full package, etc. This is something mandatory in most cases of the prescription and non-prescription labels. This is how we will be, understanding what the product is and how can we administer it, the route of administration, and what would be the side effects or adverse drug reactions, etc., etc. And then the one which you are seeing the below is also called as artwork, or the outer label it is called. And product information includes summary of product characteristics, package leaflet, labeling, etc. As per the European Commission Directive 2001/83 defines labeling as information on the immediate or outer package. History. Moving on to the history, you could see the left side label, that is a chlorodyne. Chlorodyne is first developed by a British Indian scientist called Dr. J. Collis Brown. And you could see how he was trying to claim all the benefits. Basically, chlorodyne is a opium with more alcoholic content. The later on, because of the usage of the more chlorodyne, it leads to addictions, etc. So later on, the formulation is totally taken out from the market, and then subsequently another formulation with the same name, like Dr. J. Collis Brown chlorodyne, has entered into the market by replacing opium with morphine and peppermint oil. This is mainly this will be treating pain in extreme cases. On the right side, you could see the more developed label, what it should contain, like drug facts, active ingredients, what is the active pharmaceutical ingredient it has, and uses, like temporary relieves minor aches and pains due to the common cold, etc., etc. And then warnings, and do not use in case of any any of the undergoing or health conditions, etc. And then drug facts, you could see stop use and ask a doctor if your pain get worse, etc. Like directions of usage, other information, inactive ingredients, and questions or comments. We can even reach out to the helpline number in case of anything required. Basically, here we have to understand what is the why it led to a different change. It led to into an entirely different it led to entirely different labeling requirements. On the left side label, you could see Chlorodine is admitted by the profession to be the most wonderful and valuable remedy for ever discovered, etc. Like, Dr. J. Collis Brown was trying to claim all the benefits from his drug because it is a opioid drug. It may be initially useful in the various treatments, but he is trying to claim all the benefits, even though it is not effective against certain kind of diseases or therapeutic areas. But later on, because of these more claims, and even when we are comparing this with another a disaster happened in 19th century, that is thalidomide disaster. I hope everyone is aware of the thalidomide disaster, and that's how it leads to a serious complications like phocomelia occurred in the people, etc. If the pregnant women taken a thalidomide, obviously at the end of the during the second or third trimester, phocomelia occurred in the babies, and it leads to several complications, and then later on, even the more rigorous clinical trial regulations and and pharmacovigilance practice came into picture because of that disaster. Likewise, even if we don't have any regulations, people try to use all the claims and will be claiming all the benefits, even if it is off-label use. Companies or the manufacturers of the medication is trying to claim all the benefits and then trying to make money from out of it. So considering that, in early 1960s, the labeling regulations came into picture in different areas, like in US FDA is the one which deals with all the regulatory requirements. Even you are already aware that dossier is one of the thing required, but for entering into the market, target label is a must and should. Even if any person or a company or marketing representative wants to promote his drug, he has to carry a target label, that is either summary of product characteristics or package information leaflet in European Union, and he has to carry United States package insert in case if he is trying to promote the product in USA. So these are the minimal requirements, and then let's move on. And what are the different phases of the labeling development, when it will start, etc. So the drug development will start with the drug design and synthesis. Even though before drug design and synthesis, there are some phases like identification of the target, identification of the therapeutic area where the particular company is looking to develop a drug, or a situation like COVID-19, like people are suffering a lot with the COVID-19, and then obviously the requirement for the companies or for the governments is to develop a certain treatment or a vaccine to control the situation. So it starts with that aspect, and then drug design and synthesis will be the first phase of drug development. And then once the drug design and synthesis completes, then it will enter into the preclinical evaluation. And upon getting the IND approval from the respected regulatory authorities, it will enter into the clinical development, that is the clinical trials phase 1, 2, 3. And here the label development will be initiated. Once the particular compound enters into the clinical trials, the label development will be initiated. You could see the different labels, that is IB. IB is nothing but investigator brochure, that starts in the beginning of the clinical development, that's in the phase 1 of the clinical trials. And then the second label subsequently starts at the phase 2 would be developmental core safety information, and then developmental core safety information from developmental core safety information, companies develop a developmental company core data sheet. And once these two are ready, and once it is giving a proper results, once the particular product enter into the phase 3, companies will try to start preparing the target label. That will be European SMPC or USPI or package information leaflets or medication guides or some other labels based on the country naming conventions. I just try to capture few here to avoid the confusion, like SMPC, USPI, pill, etc. And then subsequently, once the product cleared of the phase 3, companies will take the approval from the health authorities, that is NDA approval, and it will enter into the post-authorization phase, where the companies prepared or elaborate the labels and prepare the CCDS, that is company code data sheet, and regional labels. You could ask me a question at this point of time: what is the difference between the developmental CCDS and a final CCDS? Developmental CCDS contains very less information, and the information present in any of these documents, either it is a IB or developmental company core safety information or developmental CCDS or any other target labels, SMPCs, pill, USPI or pill, or having the information at having minimal information in the beginning of the clinical development, and then upon at ending of the phase 3, they will be having the accurate information. Once the phase 3 is completed, that's the phase we will be having a completely developed labels. And then once the post authorization is completed, we will be having the final labels, and then we will be using those final labels and taking approvals from the respected health authorities. Like in case of India, we will be going for approval from DCGI, Drug Control General of India. Like if any company wants to enter into the European market, then the company has to take an approval from the European Medical Agency. Likewise, US FDA, etc. And this is a common technical document structure. You could see, different modules in the ECTD or a CTD. Even ECTD is similar to the CTD. The module 1 is the regional administrative information, where this is where the labeling comes under. And module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5 is a extensive information which companies are capturing all the relevant information. Like moving on to the module 2, quality overall summaries, non-clinical overview, clinical overview, and other summaries, and clinically written summaries, etc. CMC mainly captures chemistry manufacturing controls, and then non-clinical study reports comes under module 4, and then fifth one is clinical data study reports. You could ask me a question here: what is the difference between the clinical study reports and the investigator brochures? Investigator brochure is a clear and concise data and giving advice to the investigators what is the use of the drug and how can we administer the particular drug to the clinical trial participants, and what is the dosage requirements, etc., etc. And moving on to the clinical data study reports, we will be having the extensive information, and we will be having even the adverse drug reactions or adverse events that are not related to the a particular medication. Here, I try to capture a few points related to the investigator brochures. Investigator brochure is a compilation of the clinical and non-clinical data on the investigational products that are relevant to the study of the products in human subjects. Purpose is to provide the investigator and other involved in the trial with the information to facilitate their understanding of the rationale for and their compliance with many key features of the protocol, such as the dose frequency or interval, method of administration, and safety monitoring procedures. The information should be presented in a concise, simple, objective, balanced, and non-proportional form that enables a clinician or potential investigator to understand it and make it his or her own unbiased risk-benefit assessment of the appropriateness of the proposed trial. And then the product information brochure acts as an IB for generic products. See, we have discussed about the developmental aspects of the labels, but even for generics, the label is mandatory. Not only for generic products, even for any chemical products, the label is mandatory. Considering the requirements, the labeling information is captured from the beginning. Is captured from the beginning from the investigator brochure. And then this is the IB template. You could see different sections of the IB template. It will start with the confidentiality statement and the signature page. And section 1 represents the table of contents, 2 summary, 3 introduction, physical, chemical, and pharmaceutical properties of the formulation is in section 4, non-clinical studies, non-clinical pharmacology, pharmacokinetics and product metabolism and animals, and toxicology. Say, even in the investigator brochure, we are using the preclinical information as a basis. Even that is what the IND says, right? If it is showing a good efficacy and safety in the animals, then we will be taking IND approval and entering into the clinical development. Like we are taking the basis as a preclinical evaluation information, and then we are testing the particular drug in the human beings, and then every aspect of the particular section would be unique, and upon we will be even having various single dose studies, repeated dose studies, etc., and we will be having all the information in the IB in a clear and concise manner. And this slide we will be talking about the company core safety information or developmental core safety information. Both are same. The only difference between the developmental core safety information and the company core safety information is developmental core safety information is a new terminology, comes from a CIAM's 5 recommendation, CIAM 5's working group recommendation. As per CIAM's working group 2 on PSCR, CCA consists of the minimal essential information that a manufacturer requires to be listed in all countries where the drug is marketed. See, this is the minimal information to be captured in the CCSI, or this is obviously this is the information which we are capturing in the company core data sheets. The name itself, it is referring it to the safety information. Forget about the company core safety or reference safety information. Sometimes it is also called as a reference safety information. This is the main aspect of the safety. Like it will tell you the exact safety aspects of the particular drug molecule. And it is a clear and concise form, as I have mentioned even few minutes before. investigator brochure or company core safety information or company core data sheet or any other target labels, that is SMPC or USPI or PIL, contains the minimal and the required safety information along with the other aspects of the drug labeling requirements. If I want to know the exact details, even that is not related to the particular drug, like adverse drug reactions, which is appearing not because of the drug, which is because of something else, then we cannot find that information in these labels. We have to refer to the clinical study reports and the whole information from the clinical trial outcomes. That's what it says. It excludes the extraneous or inadequately substantiated information. CCSI is much shorter than conventional IB list, which traditionally contains all the events reported during the clinical trials, regardless of the investigator opinion of related to the therapy. Only safety issues or adverse drug reactions contained in the document should be considered expected for regulatory reporting purposes. And then move on to the next slide, origins of the CCDS. Why CCDS is required and when CCDS is required is the main 2 points which we have to discuss in today's session. CIAMS is a Council for International Organization of Medical Sciences, established in 1949 at Geneva, Switzerland. They are mainly focusing on the safety aspects of the particular drug. Even taking a drug approval from any health authorities, the main aspect is risks, benefits, outcomes, the risk. That is the main policy for getting an approval from any health authorities. Let's say if the product is more efficacious, but it is producing several side effects or several adverse drug reactions, then the product is no more useful for any patient or anybody. So focusing on issues surrounding drug development and usage is the main aim of the CIAMS working groups, and mission is to standardize reporting and terminology of adverse event reportings and to serve the scientific interests of the international biomedical community. Over a period of certain years, like even from 1990 until now, there are different CIAMS working groups working on different aspects of the safety requirements. 1990 CIAMS working group 1 was working on the international reporting of ADRs, and then CIAMS working group 2 started working on PSERs in 1992, and CIAMS working group 3 and 5 working on the company core data sheets from 1999. From when companies started to think about the CCDS. Before that, companies are using different aspects of labeling, but company core data sheet is not a mandatory requirement. And you could see even the guidelines for preparing the clinical safety information on drugs is from a second edition, and working group focused on international harmonization of practical aspects of defining, creating and updating the safety information in the labels, and also elaborated on CIAMS to concept of company core data sheets and core safety information that it contains. In the sense, like whatever the information which we are capturing in the company core safety information eventually will be appeared in the company core data sheets. And one more point which we have to discuss about the CCDS is CCDS is required when the particular company or a manufacturer wants to introduce a particular product in 2 or more countries. if a generic company enters into a single market, company good data sheet is not a compulsory requirement. And company code data sheets contains the safety information, and the safety stand of the company is based on the company code data sheet. So why you may be asking me another question over here. Why company code data sheet is a main heart of the safety information? Why can't we take a USPA or SMPC or another label? Because moving on to the different countries or regions, they may be thinking in a different aspect. Like USPI may be taking clinical trial reports from the US patients, and they have certain rules and regulations as per the United States. But moving on to the European Union, again they have some regional requirements, and they may be having some limitations. Likewise, we cannot entirely depend on the single country label to discuss the safety, etc. When we are standing on a particular thing, safety data sheet will be the basic or requirement for any company talking about the product safety. Here, I try to summarize few points again, what we have discussed so far. Company code data sheet is an internal reference documents, summarize the company position on the safety and efficacy. Vehicles for communicating company-driven labeling changes to the affiliate partners. Mechanism for driving consistency across labeling globally. And this is the dynamic documents updated as new information becomes available. Reference information for PSURs or PBRERs. I hope everyone is know about what is PSUR and PBRER. PSUR is nothing but periodic safety update reports, and PBRER is again another form of the reporting. And this again not only company code data sheet, even for any label, the trigger would be anything, which we will be discussing in the next slides. These are the various sections within the SMPC, which the regional label, like this is SMPC is the regional label for European Union. And company code data sheet is exactly following the same structure, and even the subsections of the company code data sheet is exactly same as like SMPC. This is what all the companies are following now, as per my experience. And we have already discussed about the USPA requirements. The same information will be spread across 17 sections here. Here, these are the 10 sections where the whole product information is captured. Trade name of the medicinal product, qualitative and quantitative composition, pharmaceutical form, clinical particulars, therapeutic indications, posology and method of administration, contraindications, special warnings and precautions for use, interactions with other medicinal products and the other form of interactions, pregnancy and lactation, effects on ability to drive and use medicines, undesirable effects, overdose, etc. And then the section 5 will be discussing about pharmacological properties. Those are dynamics, kinetics, preclinical safety data. And pharmaceutical particulars talks about the list of excipients, incompatibility, shelf life, special precautions for storage, nature and content of the container, and special precautions for disposal, etc. And then the seventh section, marketing authorization holder, that is the name of the company which introduced the particular product into the market. Marketing authorization number, this is the number which coming from the particular health authorities, and then date of first authorization or renewal, and then date of revision of the text. See, the main difference between the company code data sheets and SMPC or USPI is company code data sheet is a company internal document. This is the basic labeling data which we will be having for all the for a certain product. But SMPC is the document to deal with the authorities. These labeling documents are the bridge between the company regulatory authorities. And companies and regulatory authorities mutually accept the particular accept the requirements of the particular data based on the SMPC or USPI data. It's not based on the data which we have in the company code data sheets. As I have mentioned, company code data sheet is a company document. It will not be submitted to the any health authorities. And the same information will be present in the section 17 sections in the USPI. The main difference between the SMPC or the CCDS or USPI is the only the data is spread across these many sections, but the overall content is same. Again, there are local requirements within the USA should be captured in the USPI. That may not be even applicable for SMPC. I don't want to go through the each and every section of the all the documents. We'll discuss overall requirements, and then at the end of the session, I will give some time for the question and answers. So far, we have covered about the label development. What are the various stages of drug label development? Like a drug development, we will be having different stages of label development. Like from phase 1, we will be, we have discussed about in phase 1, IB is developed, and then phase 2, company code data sheet is started to develop. And then in phase 3, target labels called SMPC or USPI or any other country label started to develop. Once the particular drug clears all these 3 phases, any product label should be taken approval from the health authorities to reach a market. Once the product enters into the market, we will be having post-marketing surveillance studies, like monitoring the safety of the product for a certain period of time. And subsequently, is there any line extensions, like in line extension in the sense like if any product is useful for more than one indication. Let's talk about the current situation. People are really affected with this COVID-19, and companies started trying to use the existing resources, means existing medication for the COVID-19, or trying to find a vaccine or the alternative treatment for the COVID-19. So if any company comes with any treatment, what they have to undergo before introducing the particular product into the market, even if the existing drug is giving promising results towards COVID-19, what they have to do is they have to submit an updated line extension to the health authorities, and they have to update the existing labels like a company code data sheets, and then subsequently the target product profiles, and then they have to take an approvals from the health authorities to enter into the market. So these are the different phases or aspects of the label maintenance. The label trigger would be anything. It would be a safety, medical, developmental, or administrative, which we have already discussed. Developmental, if it is a line extension from the existing drugs, like let's say any existing drug is promising towards a COVID-19 treatment, then that would be developmental. Like they would be preparing some additional justification documents, and then subsequently, based on the clinical trial outcomes, they would be updating the company core safety information, company core data sheets, and subsequently updating the SMPC, USPI, or PIMS. And then in the case of safety, what comes under safety triggers? Like let's say in the pharmacovigilance monitoring, like in the phase 4 studies, either from the PSUR or from the PRAC recommendation reports or from the PBR ER reports, etc., is anything comes up as an adverse event, the adverse event should be included in the labels. And one more thing which we have to focus here is, and you may be having a quick question over here, whether we would be updating only the CCDS first and then the country labels first, or the country labels first and the CCDS first. It would be anything. If it comes from a centralized point, the initial document would be updated, would be company code data sheet. If the trigger comes from a national authorities, like UK regulatory agencies comes with a certain thing or certain challenge, what companies does is they will try to complete the UK label, and then subsequently the trigger would be leading to a CCDS update. And the once CCDS update completes, the CCDS update leading to the regional label updates. Either it is all based on the reference labels. Like let's say India is following a US as a reference label. I'm not saying this is an exact requirement, but just for your easy understanding, I'm saying this is like initially UK label is updated because of the regulatory challenge from the UK regulatory authority, MHRA, and then once the UK label is updated and approved from the health authorities, the companies do the internal assessment. How can we update these in the global labels? That is a CCDS. And once the CCDS is updated, even the CCDS update would be something a bit complex compared to the local label updates. CCDS updates would usually takes a little bit more time compared to the local label updates, because CCDS is a complex document, or the document which talks about the product safety. So for innovator companies, updating a CCDS is not something similar to the updating a local label. For updating the CCDS, companies would ask to involve different people, like a labeling lead, regulatory lead, safety lead, medical lead, and a person from an independent committees. These 5 members will try to input the requirements from a different aspects. Labeling lead would try to provide the guidance or provide the help in the form of labeling what exactly it is required, like writing a clinical overview from based on the clinical trial outcomes, or from the justification documents which they have received from the clinical trials. And then regulatory lead will be trying to, provide the support with respect to the regulations, and will help the team in a regulatory perspective. Safety lead will try to provide the input from the safety environment. What would be the challenges if we are adding a certain adverse drug reaction or certain other thing coming to the safety side? And then pharmacovigilance scientist will try to provide his aspect, and the independent member would be providing or trying to think about the common people. Likewise, the complex team of the people would be discussing and trying to, come to a conclusion, how can we move forward with a certain update. And then once the CCDS is updated, they will initially update the European Union SMPC, that is a centralized CP SMPC, and then USPI, and then all the subsequent labels. Like, let's say, once as I have mentioned a couple of seconds before, if India label is depending on the US label, once the USPI is updated, the subsequent notification would be sent to the Indian counterpart, and they have to do their assessment, and then they have to update the particular label in India. Likewise, countries follow different companies follow different approaches. Maybe the reference label would be different, but or like moving on to the AFME countries like Africa, Middle East, they might be depending on some of the European countries as the reference label updates. It's all the internal company criteria, how they are making updates. Like, if they're not depending on the local updates, obviously they are taking the company core data sheet as a reference label. And then any label trigger would lead to CCD update, and the clinical overview is mandatory as a justification document. And the clinical overview will write about the different aspects of the label update, and will be having all the references like a clinical study reports, or from a certain justifications reports from the clinical environment, or PRAC report, that is pharmacovigilance risk assessment committee reports, or CMDH for MRP and DCP products, a CMDH report or CHMP report, etc. And then subsequently, once the CCDS is updated, it will give a notification to the regional label updates. And once the local labels are updated, even that has to be taken approval from the health authorities. The particular label should be submitted to the respective health authority. Like USPI, they would be submitting the USPI with all the justification documents or the references to the US FDA, or if in case of SMPC, they would be submitting the particular, if it is a European centralized SMPC, they would be submitting the document to the EMA, that is European Medical Agency. Or if it is a MRP DCP product and they are updating a single national label or a multiple national labels, they would be submitting to the concerned member states. Like, once the approval has been completed, or sometimes even the approval is not straightforward. When the approval is not straightforward, in the sense like the particular regulatory authorities will be challenging what companies is trying to update. They would be seeing the particular update in a different angle, and they will be providing feedback or recommending into a different thing. Then again, the companies will try to understand the regulatory aspects, and then try to justify the content or update the label as per the recommendation from the health authorities. Likewise, and then once they come to an agreement, the particular update would be completed and the SMBC would be approved, and the update should be communicated to the respective stakeholders, like if the particular treatment is for showing more efficacious results, or the line extension, that should be communicated to the concerned people like healthcare professionals, physicians, or doctors. And as I have mentioned earlier, any line extension or any adverse drug reactions, this must be communicated to the healthcare professionals and physicians, or investigators, because they must be having this information. Like, let's say some of the drug is producing some adverse events was identified during the pharmacovigilance or post-marketing surveillance studies. It is causing some devastating effects, maybe in certain category of patients, like let's say elderly. It is causing some devastating effects, or it is causing more adverse drug reactions. In that case, what they have to consider is, like, they have to immediately give the information to the drug prescribers, that is doctors and healthcare professionals. By that, they will be having the most up-to-date information, and by that the patient safety will be considered. If the communication of this information to the respective healthcare professionals and the doctors is delayed, then obviously, even though the label updates has happened, there is no use. And then healthcare, once the health authorities approves the SMPC or pill, then the artwork or label update should happen, like the one which we are seeing while we are purchasing any medication. Like if you're purchasing a paracetamol 500 mg or 650 mg tablet, if any adverse reaction appeared, or maybe we are unable to see something that is on the blister pack or whatever the pack of the paracetamol, but if new indication is if it is promising or showing the results towards a new indication, that should be included on the package of the paracetamol or whatever the drug it would be. This is how the labeling maintenance would happen within the pharmaceutical industry. And then I'm trying to explain about the future of the labeling. And as I have mentioned, SIAM's working group 5 is trying to harmonize the labeling requirements across various regions and countries. Again, why this is a required thing and why it is required? You may be asking me a question by now, that why we need IBS, why we need company core safety information or company core data sheets, and why we need target labels. What is the requirements of having these different types of labels? Why can't we have a single label? Any idea? Can I ask any of the participants this question?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Harshavardhan.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. There are certain questions which were posed by the viewers from the student side and from the faculty side of various organizations.
Sure.
I request our colleague Ramakrishna Garu to start this question answer session. There are some many questions are there. Among many questions which were raised, at least 3-4 we request you to answer.
Definitely, sir. I think we will be having one more slide, and then
one more slide.
Can we start there?
Then okay. Right.
I was just trying to grab the attention from the participants, and then
Right.
I was trying to ask a question
Yeah.
here. Yeah, maybe then. Do you anyone will be able to answer this question, or can I move forward? Yes, exactly. As I have mentioned earlier already, IB is a investigator brochure. It is not a complete labeling document. During the drug development, we will be capturing the minimal information, what exactly it is required for investigator uh, to uh, to understand what the product is, what is the dose we have to give to the patient or volunteer in the study, and then and then what exactly the drug purpose is, and then how we can administer. This is not a labeling document. IB is absolutely not a complete labeling document. But at that stage of the product development, having a complete label is not a possibility. So that is the reason why IB contains a minimal labeling information is required at that stage, because it was in still phase 1 of the clinical trials. Hardly in the phase 1, what we are studying in the patient is drug metabolism and whether the drug is reaching the uh, you know bioavailability, etc. And then the randomization starts at the phase 2, and we are started trying to capture the information about the efficacy and safety of a particular drug in phase 2. And the number of patients in the phase 2 is bit more. That is the reason why we start reporting the safety aspects, how efficacious the drug is and how safe the drug is. And once we clear off the phase 2, we are entering into phase 3. That is a randomized double-blind studies consisting of multiple participants, like more than 300, etc. participants. Then, then we will be able to identify and report the more accurate data, I would say. Either it would be efficacious data or a safety data. Then in that stage, we are having a more information related to the safety or efficacy of a particular product. We will be having more data about a particular product in phase 3. That is where we will be having more information about a particular product. Either, as I have mentioned, I'm just repeating this for your better understanding. We will be trying to capture as much information as possible at that point. And then we are completely developing a company code data sheets or SMPC or USPI or package information leaflet at stage 3. Once we come with a conclusion that phase 3 is promising results, we will be doing all the assessments and completing the particular label. And moving on to this point, CM's working group is trying to harmonize the labeling requirements across the globe. And with the harmonization, companies will try to take a rational clinical decisions. Like, let's say, if we have the unique information available in the investigator brochure or even the CCI, SI, or CDS or SMPC throughout the globe, like let's say a company is conducting a clinical trial in USA, company is conducting a clinical trial alongside in India, along in Russia, along in European Union. If they are having the same information in all the regions, gathering the information and putting out in the form of clinical trial reports will be much easier. if there is any discrepancy, like India is following entirely different way of reporting the data, and US is following an entirely different way of reporting data, and likewise Europe and Russia, then gathering the information and coming to a conclusion would be much more challenging. So that is the reason, the main reason behind CM's working group 5 to harmonize the information or unification of the information as per the requirements. And then it will definitely be helpful in avoiding the regional requirements or country requirements. And then it will definitely be helpful in all the clinical trial investigators or participants or any other stakeholders to gather the information and to summarize the information in various aspects and to avoid the deviations between the regions of the countries. And then they will be able to focus more on the taking a rational clinical decisions, and it will be more effective. And what will be happening after this will be electronic labeling. Now, electronic labeling is not available in almost none of the countries, but some of the countries already following what exactly it is there in the USPI or United States labeling. United States follows XML kind of labeling format, that is extensive markup language. That XML refers to extensive markup language, where they will be trying to capture the unique information in a particular format, and it will be easily readable by the softwares, and they can generate the outcome, etc. And even the European Union is trying to follow the similar format. And even I have seen in the recent days that Canada is trying to establish, also do something similar to the US FDA. Eventually, I think electronic labeling will be available in certain time point, maybe in couple of years time, and then we will see electronic labeling shortly. That is what the future is. And then, as a healthcare professionals or a pharmacist, what should we do? Monitor the regulations and provide the feedback or suggestions. Like, let's say, in each and every couple of months, maybe or 3 months or 6 months or down the line 1 year, there are changes in the regulations. How can we contribute? I know people from the European Union or people from the USA are actively participating in while drafting those regulations and providing their feedback. Not only healthcare professionals, even the people from those countries are trying to provide their feedback and their view of the guidance. I think what is missing in India is, excuse me, just a second. Thank you for giving me a couple of seconds. In various countries, even the healthcare professionals and people from the particular country or member states are actively participating and giving their suggestions or feedback to the health authorities, what they are thinking of the particular regulation, because it is a mandatory requirement for even for the any health authority to take a people opinion. I think in India, as in totally as across India, maybe this is one of the thing missing. Maybe this is because of the language barrier, because we are having all the regulations in English, and hardly more than 50% doesn't know English still in India. Maybe the number is much more compared to the what I was mentioning, 50%. What we have to do here is we have to fight with the governments regarding providing a regulation for a certain member states in a like a local mother tongue. Like as a Telugu state, we have to ask for a regulation in Telugu maybe. What's wrong with it? Like as a bigger country like in India, providing the regulation in the major languages, maybe 20 or 25 languages, is not a really typical thing. If you go to the certain markets in the European Union, hardly 2 million, 3 million people are living in a country, and the regulations are in the local language. Maybe I can even throw you some of the examples, like Latvia, Lithuania, or Belgium. Belgium is Brazil's is headquarters for the European Union. The whole population of the Belgium is like 1.1 crore. That is much smaller than our states like Andhra or Telangana or any other, states in the India. We have to fight for a local language, and we have to ask for regulations in a local language. By that, everyone will be able to understand and will be able to express their opinion about the certain regulations and able to provide the feedback or suggestions, etc. And finally, it's not only developing a label or updating the label. How many people reading the label is much more important rather than just developing a label or updating a label. As I have already mentioned that the language is a main barrier in India, and all the medicines or the package information leaflets, I think most of them, not all, most of them are in English, and the layman cannot read the English label, and anyone, even the older people, cannot even understand what exactly it is there. Without reading and without understanding what is there in the label, there is no use of developing a label or updating the label as per the requirements. I think as a healthcare professionals or a pharmacist, we have a much more responsibility here, and we have to educate the people. Even maybe the cost might rise a little bit, like maybe 5% or 10% because of providing the package insert in the local language, maybe from Telugu in Telugu states and in the respective language in the northern and the other southern states. But if the people when the people started reading these labels, then only it will be useful. Otherwise, I think whatever we are doing is just for a purpose of the company and not for the purpose of the consumer. I think with this, we can move on to the question session. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsha. Now I request our colleague Ramakrishna Garu to start the question answer session.
Sir, thank you very much for the wonderful session, sir. Actually, this session is highly informative about the labeling requirements for all the pharmaceutical professionals. And from the audience desk, we have some doubts from the audience desk. And that is, what are the consequences if compliance mistakes happened in labeling?
I think we have covered this question already. If the company is not following the regulations or it is non-compliant label, during the inspections, health authorities might raise this as a big thing, and even certain times they will ask a manufacturing company or the company which the product is introducing into the market may recall all the products, and may if it is a bigger thing, they might even ban the company. That's what it will happen.
Oh, yes. There is another question from PK Jain from Amity University, sir. How many stages are there for patenting a drug?
I think patent is something different from what we are discussing today. But as far as I know, I think different types of patents are there, and it is a bigger area again. Maybe we have to discuss that in a separate session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here is another question from CH Sadika, Hindu College of Pharmacy. Please brief about off-label drug use, sir.
Yes, obviously, off-label drug use is something which is common in most of the countries, including United States, India, European Union, etc. In certain situations, like example, the best example is COVID. It started very recently in December 2019, and there is no established treatment or preventive vaccination for COVID-19. And immediately once these type of things started in any part of the world, the government will look into it and will try to give some exemption for the off-label use. Like, let's say in recent days, we have already seen India exported, tons of medication with respect to the hydroxychloroquine and any other, antiviral drugs. For physicians, there will be a liberty to prescribe certain thing, and they will try to monitor the patient. It's not something the people can take over the counter medication, but it should be given under the physician supervision.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And there is another question from Shraddha Lakambare, the student of BVDU's Pune College of Pharmacy, Pune. The question is there any particular procedure that varies country from country with respect to the control correspondent?
That's what I was saying already. The procedure will not change. If any company, any international company introducing a particular product in different member states or different countries, they have to follow the same procedure, and they have to respect the reference country label updates. As I have mentioned, if a country, like within the European Union, we have different member states, or even it is a different countries altogether, but we call it as reference member states. Like, let's say Bulgaria is one of the European Union country. It is depending on the neighboring country, Romania. If Romania is completed their label update, and subsequently the notification will send out to the Bulgaria. And Bulgaria has to follow the same process what Romania has followed, but there might be local regulations or local requirements that should be added apart from the what was there on the Romania label. Like, let's say for some of the countries, like this is a live experience example. For Bulgaria, shelf life of products is mandatory, even if it is a pharmaceutical dosage form or a chemical product. And even coming to the pharma, this is a mandatory requirement, even the expiry date. But coming to the chemical product labeling, in certain European member states, there is no such a requirement to print an expiry date on the artwork or the label which is affixed to the particular container of the product. But Romania has a local requirement about the shelf life sentence. It has to be captured that the shelf life of a particular product is X years or Y years, etc. And
Yes, sir.
that is not a requirement in Romania. We
Yes,
have to
sir.
follow the reference member state regulations or what was the update happened, but we can, understand the local requirements.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is another question from Shajita V. Is medical writing a part of labeling?
Yes, medical writing is also a part of labeling. It's not a complete medical writing is not part of labeling, but some of the labels, as I have mentioned, some clinical overview, that is a justification document required for CCDS update. We will be taking a medical writer's help in developing a clinical overview. Likewise, these all the departments are depending on one another. I would say it's not something like it's not something totally different from the other area. Like as in the drug development process, we can we have different departments like medicinal chemistry. They will do the synthesis, and then once the synthesis of the particular formulation is completed, the next thing will be going to the studies. They will try to understand and define a certain formulation, like which is the best formulation for a particular product, like either it's a tablet, capsule, or injection, or something else. And then it will be going to the pharmacology department for the preclinical evaluation and the clinical evaluation, and in between we are depending on the analysts to get the quality and safety of the drug, etc.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the explanation for all the queries that have made by our participants there. And I would like to thank you again for this, and over to Nagbhushan, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Harshavardhan, for enriching us with the labeling requirements globally, and also sharing your time and knowledge for benefiting all the participants of the PRAJWALA webinar program, which we are organizing for the last 4 days. And this is the last day, and yours is the last session. And you have addressed our students in the last month also, and we are very much thankful for your time and sparing your knowledge. And it is a most educating webinar session by a regulatory affairs labeling specialist from IMED Global Corporation UK Limited. And today's speaker has focused on significance of pharmaceutical labeling and requirements in international regulatory perspective. And thank you, Harsha, for your informative session. And you have elaborately given the details on what is IB, investigational brochure, and how the template of IB looks like, and what are the contents of various sections present in that, and what are the origins of CCDS and other things. And there are many uploads from the even senior most professors like Annapurna Madam, Professor Annapurna Madam, Pharmacology Department from Andhra University, has also one of the listeners to your webinar. And the future of the labeling also you have mentioned, like electronic labelings and other things, and the role of pharmacist in the labeling also you have mentioned. So these are all some of the very informative points, because this particular area of labeling specialization is something very difficult to find the persons who are really experienced in regulatory session. Okay, theoretical knowledge is something different, but you are the international regulatory labeling professional, and we are fortunate, all our participants and everyone who is taking role in this webinar are really fortunate enough to listen to your knowledge and experience in this labeling requirement perspective. I want to express our sincere thanks on behalf of the Department of Pharmaceutical Regulatory Affairs and also on behalf of all the participants, and my sincere thanks and gratitude to all the resource persons who have shared their knowledge and time during last 4 days on various topics. On the first day, T. Ramyasri Madam, Senior Manager Regulatory Affairs from Lotus Pharmaceuticals, Hyderabad, has shared her knowledge on the topic role of regulatory affairs professionals in pharmaceutical product development. And later, P. Suresh Garu, Senior Principal Research Scientist from Lotus Pharma, has shared his knowledge on importance of pharmaceutical dissolution method development in submissions of NDAs and ANDAs. And Vinay Kumar Mallemala Garu from HCL Technologies, a Senior Medical Device Regulatory Specialist, has enriched our participants by sharing his knowledge on the topic of role of various regulatory bodies in approval of medical devices and their market scenario. And A. Srikant Garu has shared his knowledge on analytical method development and regulatory significance as per ICH and USP regulations. And Dr. Sivareddy Challagaru, research collaborator from the Department of Cancer Biology and Pharmacology from University Illinois College of Medicine from USA, has expressed his views on latest regulatory guidelines for conducting clinical research in BA/BE studies and the good clinical practices. And later in today's afternoon session, the Harshavardhan Gummadi Garu, the regulatory affairs labeling specialist from IMED Global Corporation UK Limited, have covered this topic of significance of pharmaceutical labeling requirements in international regulatory perspective. And it's my privilege to thank our management of our college, respective chairman, Sri Jupudi Rangaraj Garu, secretary and correspondent Madhusudan Rao Garu, Dr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu, and principal Dr. Govindarajan, and vice principal Professor A. Sunita Madam, HOD of Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis, and OSD Sitaramai Garu, and HOD of Pharmacy Practice Department, and all other faculty who have contributed for successful completion of this webinar series. And I acknowledge the unwavering support received from all department HODs and teaching faculty and the faculty of these various departments. My thanks also go to the people who have given their precious time in organizing this webinar successfully. And in particular, I would like to acknowledge and thank my department colleague G. Ramakrishna Garu for his technical and design support, and Y. Ratnasindhu Madam for giving welcome notes, Dr. Ramaya and Nagarjuna Reddy Garu for introducing the speakers on every session, and Brahme Garu for dealing with question answer hours, and Sridhar for his technical support. And I am thankful to all resource persons who have greatly helped us in organizing this conference, and we appreciate all delegates for their participation in successful conduction of this PRAJWALA seminar by Regulatory Affairs Department. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for giving this opportunity. And now I request our Chairman Garu, Sri Chupudi Rangaraj Garu, to address.
Thank you, Mr. Nagabhushanam. And I followed the last session of Harshavardhan,
Sir.
And it has thrown a lot of light upon the subject. And one thing which, being an advocate, I wanted to just mention, when the penal clause is there, no one can avoid penal clause if the labeling is not correct. The penal clause, as Mr. Harshavardhan said, they can ban and even close the that particular industry or whatever it is. And the other penal clause, which is they can be sent to even for criminal prison also, which is more harsh punishment as far as the particular person is concerned. So, but this session has given a lot of energy for this entire session, and all the other sessions which I was just peeping through, they had given good information, and I especially thank our secretary correspondent, Sri Madhusudan Rao Garu, who has taken initiative in respect to all these webinars. And I feel that we have given, this COVID has given us a new light of these webinar sessions. I do not know whether in future also the same is will be carried on or not, but in spite of it, our Hindu College of Pharmacy has been trying to serve the not only the students, the faculty, and also the one more thing which I wanted to put is, I really appreciate from the core of my heart about Harshavardhan stating that they should be in regional languages. Yes, he's absolutely correct. The participants who are participating from the entire country or the outside countries also, I request them, all of them, to put or to send a mail to the concerned ministries, even to the health minister, so that they would come up with a unique idea in respect of the local languages, so that it will help the public at large. This is really a wonderful, wonderful suggestion made by Harshavardhan, and I will also try to put my brain and take a note from our Hindu College of Pharmacy and send it to the concerned ministry to ponder upon it and see that the general public are enlightened in respect to this labeling about medicine and medicine. I thank everyone, and especially Nagbhushan for taking pains for organizing such a good conference, and all my, because I wish a great success in respect to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful concluding remarks for this international webinar series. I request Dr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu, Secretary and Correspondent, to address the gathering with his closing remarks.
Oh, thank you, Ramakrishna Garu. Am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes.
Let me first say hats off to Harshavardhan. Sir, are you
Thank you very
listening?
much.
It's a wonderful ending to a beautiful beginning from Mrs. Rameshri. Can I switch over to Telugu because we're all Telugu people? For a change.
Definitely, sir.
Ramakrishna Garu ఇందాక మాట్లాడుతూ ఒక మంచి బ్యూటిఫుల్ వర్డ్ అన్నారు. Seamless. Seamless. The entire program was seamlessly arranged. The topics are so seamlessly arranged that every topic has a natural connection with the next topic, like that. Atla consequent గా టాపిక్స్ అన్ని కూడా చాలా బాగా మీ స్పీచ్ ఇచ్చారు మన వాళ్ళు. ఐ రియలీ అప్రిషియేట్ డాక్టర్ నాగభూషణం. ఇప్పుడు నేను యాక్చువల్గా ఈ మీ టాక్ చూస్తే నేనేం నోట్స్ రాసుకున్నానో ఈ నోట్స్ అంతా కూడా నాగభూషణం గారు ఇందాక థ్యాంక్స్ గివింగ్ లో చెప్పేశారు ఆల్రెడీ. యాజ్ ఇఫ్ యాజ్ టెలిపతిక్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ఆఫ్ మై ఓన్ మైండ్ అట్లా చేశారు. అందుకని ఐ టాక్ క్లాస్. మనకు పురుష సూక్తంలో ఒక చిన్న బిగినింగ్ లో ఫస్ట్ సూక్తం ఏముంటుందంటే సహస్ర శీర్ష పురుష సహస్రాక్ష సహస్ర పాత్ర. అట్లా నాగభూషణం గారు with all his efforts, with all his energy, with all his endeavor, with all his beautiful background work చేసి చాలా చక్కగా ఇదంతా చేశారు. సో దట్ ఇట్స్ రికార్డ్ 3000 పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ అనేది చాలా ఇట్స్ ప్రాబ్లీ మైండ్ బాగ్లింగ్. 3000 పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఈ సెమినార్ సిరీస్ కి ఉన్నారంటే చాలా గొప్ప విషయం అది. మేము మా ఓన్ పీపుల్ కాబట్టి మేము అప్రిషియేట్ చేయకూడదు కానీ బట్ పీపుల్ లైక్ యూ కెన్ రియల్లీ అప్రిషియేట్ హీస్ ఎఫర్ట్స్. Rather, from a drug to come out from a molecular stage to the marketing stage, so many pharmaceutical scientists, researchers, clinical workers, PGs, అందరూ వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు అంటే ప్రాబ్లీ we doctors, medical doctors, we're enjoying at your expense. అదొక ఫన్నీ థాట్ నాకు వచ్చింది యాక్చువల్గా. డాక్టర్స్ యూజ్ ది ఎండ్ ప్రోడక్ట్, లేబుల్డ్ ప్రోడక్ట్. ఆ లేబుల్డ్ ప్రోడక్ట్ యూజ్ చేయడానికి థౌజండ్స్ ఆఫ్ వర్కర్స్, pharmaceutical scientists, so many regulatory bodies, so many workers are working relentlessly అంటే it's real probably no thanks are sufficient to pay our tributes to them. It's a really wonderful seminar session. ఈ వెబినార్ అంతా కూడా చాలా సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అయింది నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను. I thank especially the trio from Lutis, Ramesh garu, Suresh garu, Srinath garu. Almost half of the webinar is covered by them. We, from the management side, we thank them profusely. Tarvata Vinay Mallemal garu, Dr. Shivareddy, he spoke to me last night. What a wonderful feeling to talk to him because he was our own faculty at once upon a time. మీరందరూ కూడా యుఎస్కి వెళ్ళి ఎన్ఆర్ఎస్గా ఉండి ఇంత వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారంటే we just feel proud that you are doing a wonderful job there. How we wish, as our vice principal Dr. Sunita was telling the other day, ఎప్పుడు మీరు ఇండియాకి వచ్చినా సరే be our most valued guest. మా విఐపి గెస్ట్గా మేము ట్రీట్ చేస్తాము. మా చైర్మన్ గారు he is known for his hospitality and he will definitely treat you the way you are to be treated. మాకు ఎందుకంటే ఇంత వాల్యుబుల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్, ఇంత వాల్యుబుల్ టైం మీరు స్పేర్ చేసి మాకు ఇటువంటి వండర్ఫుల్ సెమినార్ని ప్రజెంట్ చేశారు అంటే దట్స్ ఏ రియల్ ఫార్చ్యూన్ ఫర్ అస్. థ్యాంక్ యూ డాక్టర్ హర్షవర్ధన్. అండ్ డాక్టర్ అంటున్నాను బట్ డాక్టరే ఉండాలి. అండ్ ఆల్ దస్ రమేష్ గారు, సురేష్ గారు, వినయ్, Srinath garu, Shivareddy garu, all of you, thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the department of PRA led by Dr. Nabhushanam, all the staff members, Dr. Sunita and Dr. even Ramaya, and our principal, not the least, our principal also have done a wonderful job. So I thank you all. And we are missing you rather, because it has been a sort of academic feast for us all the time. Beginning from pharmaceutical analysis webinars, it has been a feast. It's going to continue till July first week or second week. So we have made a good use of COVID-19. The resistance it has given us, we could use it wonderfully in the form of webinars and online classes, etc. So it's a good time. Thank you so much, and thanks all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Madhusudhan garu. We are very much thankful for your kind words that were uttered by you. It is something like a showering of your blessing on us. And now I request Dr. Govindarajan garu, our principal of Hindu College of Pharmacy, to address, to say his concluding remarks on this PRAJWALA webinar series. Over to Dr. Govindarajan garu.
So, yes. So today we heard the wonderful webinar what we listen about the labeling. Really excellent extent of view what is saying about the regulatory requirement for the labels. So really this information need for every person. What the drugs content is much more important. Now, first what I say at the beginning of the inauguration, everyone reach to right medicine, to right people, right content. The same thing, the authority or the people who are giving the medication, mention the right medication in the easily and simple way to understand the lay people also. So that's why Harshavardhan is giving wonderful information given to us. On behalf of the College of Pharmacy and our honorable chairman, sir, and honorable secretary, sir. I will really congratulate and thankful to arrange the wonderful webinar to people who are listeners, and also thanks to Dr. Nagabhushan Garu. They given wonderful arrangement, and about the sessions, all the 5 sessions are like 5 calls. What we given this entire 4 days sessions. Really congratulate, sir, and all the best. I really every people they enjoyed the enlightened view of the future upgoing what the regulatory issues. Thank you, and thank you once again. Thank you all.
And with the permission of, thank you, Dr. Govindarajan Garu, Principal of Hindu College of Pharmacy, for your kind words, and we have enjoyed his support, sir, throughout this webinar series for successful conduction in all respects. And with the permission of Harshavardhan, I just would like to announce that Harshavardhan Gummadi is my BPharm student, sir, and I feel happy that he is being applauded by all you people for his great endeavors in his career. Now I request Dr. Professor A. Sunita Madam to address.
Yeah, good evening, Varenda. I am extremely happy to be at this August gathering on the closing ceremony of 4-day international webinar series, PRAJWALA, on contemporary issues in pharmaceutical regulatory affairs. Firstly, I would like to thank today's speaker, Harshavardhan Garu, for his marvelous lecture on labeling processes. We are fortunate enough to have such eminent speakers from Lutis Pharmaceuticals Private Limited, Hyderabad, Mrs. T. Ravisri, Mr. P. Suresh, Mr. A. Srinath. Another speaker from HCL Technologies, Bangalore, Mr. Vinay Kumar. And today, morning session covered by Dr. Shiva Reddy Garu from USA and Harshavardhan Garu from UK enlightened us. All the sessions are quite interesting. I express my sincere thanks to all the speakers for their tremendous contribution towards Hindu College of Pharmacy for making this program in a grand success. I extend my special thanks to Dr. Nagaraju Garu, Lutis Pharmaceuticals, for his support and blessings. So nicely organized by Department of Drug Regulatory Affairs. I congratulate Dr. M.V. Nagabhushanam Garu, Program Convener, Head Department of Regulatory Affairs, and his team, Mr. Ramakrishna Garu, for his graphical design, and Mr. Nagarjun Reddy, Brahmaya, Dr. Ramaya, and Sindhura for making this event in an effective manner. Thank you, one and all. So please visit our website www.hcapguntur.ac.in to enroll for upcoming webinars. We hope your active participation is always highly essential to us. Thank you, Harshavardhan sir, once again.
Thank you, madam. Now I request Sitaramaya Garu to say concluding remarks. Our OSD and Director for PharmD program, and the ex-employee of CDSCO, the Regulatory Authority of Government of India. Sir can come this side otherwise. Internally.
Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Nagabhushnam, for your nice introduction. Well, Dr. Harshavardhan, this is the second time we have heard your lectures. Thank you very much for giving the importance of labeling at various levels. And we have been listening to you from the beginning. So our students and faculty members are lucky to have such a speaker. Well, during this 4 days program, different people from various industries and institutes have addressed our students. And I would like to tell you that the Regulatory Affairs Department syllabus was so formulated by the Pharmacy Council of India to include not only CDSCO regulations, but also FDA and Australian requirements, American requirements, and Middle East requirements. So those students who have gone through this course will be able to work in any country of the regulatory departments. And this training, this 4 days training in the form of webinars will help our students and other college students to update their knowledge about the regulatory affairs in various countries. And they will be in a better position to do their duties to the best of their ability. So I wish to thank our Regulatory Affairs Department faculty members, especially head of the department and their colleagues, for meticulously planning and implementing this international webinar. And our management also encouraged for conducting these type of webinars. And I thank our chairman, Sri Jupudi Rangaraju Garu, and Secretary Correspondent Madhusudan Rao Garu, Principal Dr. Govindrajan, Vice Principal Sunita Madam, and other faculty of Regulatory Affairs. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
As a mark of respect, love, and remembrance, our management has planned to give a certificate of appreciation to all the participants as well as to the resource persons. Now I request on behalf of the management, I take this freedom and permission to release the certificates and a word of or a mark of respect from our side to all the resource persons. Now I request Ramakrishna Garu to release the certificates of appreciation to all the webinar resource persons. We will send, sir. We will send all certificates to all the resource persons. And we again, on behalf of the faculty management and students, so we thank all the resource persons for their wonderful sessions and the participation and sharing their knowledge. And now I request for national anthem to play by our Ramakrishna Garu.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल फलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
With the permission of all of you, we take the leave and close this webinar, international webinar session, PRAJWALA, and we'll meet again on some other occasion. Thank you all.